subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, which we got some time. It is currently like November, and so we got 2 months to do this. So let's get to 1,000 subscribers, and without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, and starting off this video, we have Afghanistan. And so a fun fact about Afghanistan is recently they changed their flag to this one right here. So yeah, that's Afghanistan's fun fact, is they've recently changed their flag. And next up, we have Albania. And a fun fact is they nod their head no, and they shake their head yes. So it's different from American culture at least. Yeah, so they do their shakes and nods differently. But also, if there is a fun fact that I missed or anything, or if these fun facts are wrong or something, because I searched it up on Google and I looked around a little bit for a fun fact. So if these aren't true, please feel free to leave a comment and just let me know. And next up we have Algeria. And a fun fact is, despite being the largest country in Africa, 90% of the country is made up by the Sahara Desert. So it is one of the largest countries in Africa, because Sudan was the largest country in Africa before the split of Sudan, South Sudan. And so now Algeria is the biggest country, but just 90% of it consists of the desert. Next up we have Andorra, and a fun fact, it is the only country in where Catalan is an official language. So, like every country has an official language, like the USA. I mean, I was told that they don't have an official language by a lot of people, but then recently someone told me that we did. So, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think we do, but it was gonna be German, just because, how many German speakers we had. But Andorra is the only place in the world where Catalan is an official language. And next up we have Angola, and a fun fact, it is home to the largest waterfall in Africa. So all that little whoosh, 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 falling off of a cliff is the largest one in Africa, is here in Angola. And next up we have Antigua and Barbuda, and fun fact, it is known as the land of 365 beaches. So there is a beach for every year there. That's crazy. So every day that you go and wake up, you could be traveling to a different beach every day. And next up, we have Argentina. And a fun fact is they made the tango dance. So basically the tango dance, like the tango is a very popular dance, and I don't know, yeah, it came from Argentina. And next up we have Armenia, and a fun fact is that the first church was built here in 303 AD. So yeah, the first church was built like a couple thousand years ago. You can do the math if you want, but it was almost like 2,000 years ago. Yeah, so pretty old church. Okay, and next up we have Australia. And for the fun fact of this country, it looks like I fell asleep on the keyboard because it makes no sense what I was putting, but it is the only country that has a continent named after it, because obviously it's Australia, and Australia is in the continent of Australia, because the continent of Australia has like 3 countries in it. So yeah. Okay, and we have Austria. is the oldest running zoo in the entire world. Whoa. Yo, those animals in the zoo gotta be very old if they're in the oldest zoo ever. And next up, we have Azerbaijan. And a fun fact is Azerbaijan is home to around 350 to 400 mud volcanoes. That's a lot of mud volcanoes. The Bahamas. A fun fact about the Bahamas is it has over 700 islands. That's a lot of islands. And another fun fact is I have actually been to the Bahamas. It was one of the first countries that I ever went to outside of my home country, which is the United States. So that is the first country I ever traveled to, being the Bahamas. And it also consists of over 700 islands. Next up, we have Bahrain, and Bahrain is home to the first ever underwater theme park. It's like a whole theme park underwater. I don't know how much I trust that. I don't know, there's just something about being underwater that scares me. Like, if I'm swimming like 2 inches underwater, then I'm fine. But if you put me on a submarine and we're going thousands of feet down, then I'm good. And especially putting my trust in underwater plus a theme park, that's just like, do I take the fun or do I take the safety? I don't know. And now we have Bangladesh, and the fun fact is it is known as the land of the rivers. Because it's got a river, land of the rivers. And next up we have Barbados, and a fun fact, it is known as the home place of rum. So basically they made the rum. Yeah, they made rum. Tough. And next is Belarus, and a fun fact is it is sometimes called the lungs of Europe because Belarus has a vast amount of trees that make up its country. And next up is Belgium. And a fun fact, it is the home capital. It is the home of the capital of the EU. So, Belgium's capital is where the EU meets. And if you don't know what the EU is, it is the European Union, and it's a bunch of European countries. And it's not like NATO that is there in case of like war and stuff. The EU is the European Union, which is basically there for like trade and economic reasons. Next up we have Belize, and they have 400 islands, and the islands are called Cayas, and that is Caycus. And next up we have Benin, and a fun fact, it is the birthplace of voodoo. So like, for all you people that think voodoo is real, well, Benin is where voodoo came from. Next up, we have Bhutan, and a fun fact is their capital city does not have any traffic lights. So you can imagine probably the amount of accidents that people get into. To me, that just seems to me, it just seems really dangerous to not have traffic lights, but who knows? And next up, we have Bolivia, and Bolivia is home to the world's largest salt flat. That's crazy. World's largest salt flat. the largest population of elephants in their country. Guys, comment down below your favorite animal, okay? Mine personally, gotta love dogs, bro. Come on, guys, comment down your favorite animal. And next up we have Brazil. And Brazil's fun fact is they have the largest diversity of monkeys. Yeah, so Brazil has a lot of monkeys in it. It's a big country, and I mean it has the Amazon rainforest, a lot of other things, and so that is why Brazil has the largest diversity of monkeys. And we now have the British Virgin Islands, and a fun fact is the first settlers arrived in 100 BC to the island. Next up we have Brunei, and a fun fact is they do not tolerate alcohol a single bit. There is zero alcohol tolerance in Brunei. Next up we have Bulgaria, and the fun fact is Bulgaria is one of the oldest countries in Europe. So yeah, Bulgaria is one of the oldest European nations. And then next up, we have Burkina Faso, which, fun fact, is home to over 60 ethnic groups. So one of the largest diversity in ethnic groups in Burkina Faso. And next up we have Brunei, and a fun fact is they are known for their cotton production. Next up we have Cambodia, and a fun fact is that insects are a common food item here. So yeah, insects are pretty common here in Cambodia. Next up we have Cameroon, and a fun fact, it is home to the largest frog. So one of those tiny things that go ribbit. It's pretty big. It's pretty big. Next up we have Canada. Fun fact, maple syrup. Next up we have Cape Verde, and fun fact, the name translates to green cape. So Cape Verde translates to green cape. And now we have the Central African Republic. Fun fact, they are rich in wildlife. They have a lot of wildlife in their country. They got a lot of wildlife, a lot of tigers. Next up, we have Chad, and a fun fact is that Chad is rich in gold. They have a lot of gold, like a lot of gold. Like they have a lot of gold. And next up we have Chile, and a fun fact is Chile has the largest swimming pool in the entire world. And next up we have China, and a fun fact about China is they have the second most population, and they had the first most for a long time, but they set limits on how many children could be born, and India, their close neighbor, took them over in population in around 2023, I'd want to say. And next up we have Colombia, and a fun fact is they are the home of the river of 5 colors. So yeah, home of the river of 5 colors. Camarus, and Mount Carliatha. The highest point in Camarus is Mount Carthala, an active volcano. And next up we have the Democratic Republic of Congo, and The fun fact for the DRC is it has the oldest national park in Africa. And next up, we have Congo, not to be confused with the other Congo, but we have the Congo, which is just the Congo. Anyways, but the Congo's fun fact is they have the second largest rainforest in the entire world, just behind the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. Next up we have Costa Rica, and fun fact, they have no army. They don't have a single person. It is nobody. It is just an army with nobody. They have no army. They have zero army men because they don't have an army. Next up we have Côte d'Ivoire, and fun fact, in English it translates to Ivory Coast. That's not really much of a fun fact. It's just an English word. But yeah, Côte d'Ivoire translates to Ivory Coast. And next up, we have Croatia, and a fun fact is a very popular game show was filmed here. I'm gonna give you guys a second to guess. If you guessed Game of Thrones, you were right, because Game of Thrones was filmed in Croatia. Next up, we have Cuba. Fun fact, Cuba has one of the highest literacy rates in the entire world. So pretty much everyone in that country can read. Crazy. Next up, we have Cyprus. And fun fact, Cyprus is home to the oldest perfume in the ever. It is home to the first perfume, making it the oldest perfume. Next up, we have the Czech Republic, and fun fact, they have the largest castle in the entire world. That's crazy. The largest castle. They had to defend a lot of people, I guess. Next up, we have Denmark, and the fun fact is Lego. Who doesn't love Lego? So, the fun fact is that Lego is from Denmark. Let's go. And we have Djibouti, and the fun fact is the lowest point in Africa is in Djibouti, being Lake Azul, and it is the most salty lake. So, there's a lot of fun fact packed into that one country. And now we have the Dominican Republic, and a fun fact is they have the most blue flag beaches in their area. So they have the most blue flag beaches. Oh my gosh. They have the most blue flag beaches, not bleaches. Beaches in their area. And now we have East Timor. And a fun fact, it is the only Portuguese-speaking country in Asia. Which, I mean, that's pretty cool because Portugal is all the way on the west side of Europe, and Asia is far away from the west side of Europe. So that's pretty cool. And now we have Ecuador. And a fun fact, it is known as the closest country to space because it has the highest point in the entire world, which is pretty crazy that it has the highest point in the entire world in its country. And now we have Egypt, and a fun fact And so they all split up Africa in their own way, but didn't ask like the people of Africa how they felt. So they kind of shaped modern borders and stuff in Africa. And next up we have Eritrea. Eritrea. I'm not good at spelling, at saying words, but fun fact is they have only had one president since its freedom. So since this country has been freed, they have had one president of their country. That's only one. In comparison, the USA has 48, somewhere around that 48 number of presidents. So yeah, they have one president since being free. Next up, we have Estonia, and a fun fact is Estonia has the world's cleanest air. I don't know how that's possible, because, I know there's a lot of pollution in the air, but air moves. Like, it moves. So I don't know how one country can just have the cleanest air, because air doesn't just stay inside of a country's border, it moves. So I don't know how that's possible, but sure, whatever you say. And now we have Eswatini. And a fun fact is it is the one of the last monarchies in Africa. So those king and queens, people ruling over them, just like Great Britain, they are one of the last countries in Africa to have a king and queen. And now we have Ethiopia. And fun fact is Ethiopia is the only country in Africa that wasn't conquered whenever, like, all the European powers came in. They were the only African nation left that didn't get conquered. Next up, we have Fiji, and a fun fact is Fiji has 333 islands. Isn't that crazy? 333 islands. That's pretty crazy. And now we have Finland, and a fun fact about Finland is it is the happiest country in the world. So everyone is jumping up around, yelling happy, happy, happy every day because they're so happy. They're just like happy, 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 because they're very happy. Next up we have France, and France is the most visited country in the entire world. Shout out to all my French language takers. But France is the most visited country for a reason. They have the Eiffel Tower that's taller than me, and I'm 7 feet tall. So, it's pretty tall. And now we have Gabon, and fun fact is this country has a lot. They have a lot of wildlife, like a lot of wildlife. Like they got giraffes, probably, and elephants, probably. And next up, we have Gambia, and a fun fact: it is Africa's smallest country. Like it's very small. Yeah, very teeny tiny. And next up, we have Georgia. Not like the state Georgia, but the country Georgia. And the fun fact is they began making wine over 8,000 years ago. 8,000 years ago. That's older than me and you combined. And next up we have Germany. And a fun USA is a democracy. And a fun fact is Greece is the birthplace of democracy. Next up, we have Grenada, and a fun fact, it is home to a lot of spice. Like, they have a lot of spices there. Like, a lot of spices. A crap ton of spices. And now we have Grenada, and a fun fact is they are home to a lot of different spices. So they have a lot of spices like pepper and other things. And now we have Guatemala, and Guatemala is considered the birthplace of chocolate. So to all of you chocolate fans out there, you dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, yeah. So Guatemala is where chocolate came from, and I love chocolate. Next up we have Guinea, and a fun fact is the land has been inhabited for over 30,000 years. 30,000 years is a long time. We're only in the year 2025 right now. So that's a pretty long time, if you ask me. And now we have Guinea-Bissau. Oh my gosh, Guinea-Bissau. Oh my gosh, I can't pronounce the country's name, guys. Please help me. Fun fact is they are a major producer of cashew nuts. Yeah, so they are a big producer of cashews. So if you guys like cashews, comment down below. I like cashews. And now we have Guinea, and a fun fact is they have the world's highest single drop waterfall. So basically, it goes like this, and then boom, it drops. Boom! Because that's what waterfalls do, is they fall. And next up, we have Haiti. And a fun fact about Haiti is it is the first black-led republic. And now we have Honduras. And a fun fact is they have the second largest coral reef system. So coral reefs, there's fish, there's plants, there's animals, there's, fish are animals, and coral reefs are cool, but sadly our coral reefs are being destroyed. It is very sad that our coral reefs are slowly being destroyed, so we need to help preserve the coral reefs. And now we have Hungary. If you're hungry, go eat food. And a fun fact is Hungary is home to the Rubik's Cube. I can't solve a Rubik's Cube. I know people that can't solve a Rubik's Cube, but I'm not one of those people. And next up, we have Iceland. And a fun fact is Iceland is the safest country in the world. You could leave your iPad out on a table around a bunch of strangers, and there's a 99% chance that that iPad is still gonna be there. People are very nice there in Iceland. I've never been. I want to go to Iceland because it seems really fun, because the sun never sets there, so that would be kind of annoying. And now we have India, and a fun fact is India is the most populated country in the world. They recently passed China a couple years ago with a couple billion people. So, yeah. And now we have Indonesia, and a fun fact about Indonesia is that they are home to the largest flower. So, yeah, the biggest flower. It's pretty tall. And next up, we have Iran, and a fun fact is Iran is the world's largest producer of saffron. So, the gem saffron. They are the largest producer of it. And now we have Iraq. And a fun fact is the first ever writing came from Iraq. So it didn't come from like the modern country of Iraq. There's obviously been dynasties and empires and like old civilizations that have been there. So like some of the first ever writings came from there. Next up we have Ireland, and a fun fact about Ireland is that they have the oldest operational lighthouse. So those lighthouses that are on the water and they go, they are that Ireland is the home of the oldest one. And now we have Israel, and a fun fact is that Israel, like someone in Israel made voicemail. So all those scam callers trying to get you to pay your car warranty when you're 10 years old and you don't even have a car and you don't know what an extended warranty is. Yeah. Voicemail was made by an Israeli person. And now we have Italy, and a fun fact is Italy is the home of pizza. Yay! And next up, we have Jamaica, and a fun fact is Jamaica is home to Usain Bolt, the fastest man alive. And now we have Japan, and a fun fact about Japan is that slurping is considered a nice thing. It basically means in there that you like the food, so slurping your food is considered a nice thing to do. And now we have Jordan, and a fun fact is that Jordan has the lowest point in the world, being the Red Sea, and that sea is not actually red. And Kazakhstan, and a fun fact about Kazakhstan is that it is the largest country to come out of the USSR. And so another history lesson here. So up until 1991, there was a country known as the USSR, and it was home to a bunch of different countries that are countries right now. But basically, the Soviet Union fell apart, and Kazakhstan is the largest country to come out of that collapse. And now we have Kenya, and a fun fact, it is the top safari destination. So people that want to go see the safari, go here, go to Kenya. And now we have Kiribati, and a fun fact is it is in all four hemispheres at once. So it's in the north, south, east, and west hemisphere all at once. And Kosovo is the other country that has their actual country in the flag. So we went over Cyprus, and now it has their country in the flag, and Kosovo has their country inside of their country's flag. And now we have Kuwait, and a fun fact about Kuwait is it has the most valuable currency out of any country in the entire world. And a fun fact about Laos is one of the last few countries with communism as its main political party, which is what the USSR had, communism. Next up is Latvia, and fun fact, they have the widest waterfall in Europe. So we discussed the deepest single drop waterfall, and now we have the widest waterfall in Europe. Next up, we have Lebanon, and Lebanon invented the ABCs. So the A, B, C, D, they invented that. And Lesotho, they are known as the kingdom in the sky because of their elevation. So they're known as the kingdom of the sky. And now we have Liberia, and a fun fact is it is an African nation, and is the only African nation that used to be a U.S. territory. And that is the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for waiting the long time that I spent making this video. It has been truly an honor making this video, and I am making a part 2 to this on the rest of them. So please stay tuned for that video. anyways, guys, I will